Okay, let's dive in. Have you ever had that moment? You've booked something, got the confirmation, you turn up all ready to go, and, well, it's just not there.
Oh, yeah. That sinking feeling. It happens more often than you'd think.
Exactly. And that's what we're exploring today, that surprisingly common and really frustrating experience, specifically with renting a car. We found this great dialogue on the English Smart Podcast YouTube channel that captures it perfectly.
It's a clever approach they take, actually. Using this universal frustration trying to pick up a rental car as a scenario for practicing English, it really shows how everyday these situations are.
Totally. So their goal is English practice, but we're going to take a bit of a different angle. We want to really get into the weeds of this whole reservation versus reality problem.
Understand the different cars they talk about.
Yeah, the compacts, the midsize, all that, and pick out some key phrases you hear in these situations. Think of it as, I guess, a shortcut to understanding this whole rental car confusion.
And maybe get some language to use next time it happens to you.
Hopefully not, but yeah. Okay, so let's get to the core issue in that dialogue. The mismatch, right, between having a reservation and the car actually being, well, available.
Right. So the customer, Jimmy Fox, he arrives. He's got a reservation for a mid-sized car.
The standard choice for many people, probably.
Exactly. And the rental agent just says, I'm sorry, we have no midsize available at the moment. Just like that.
Oof, you can just picture his face falling, that immediate, wait, what moment.
And his reaction is key. He says, I don't understand. I made a reservation. He's voicing that, fundamental assumption we all make.
That a reservation means
hmm
they reserved it.
Pretty much. That the thing you booked will actually be waiting. It's
Yeah.
about that implied promise.
Then comes that zinger of a line, the one the podcast host pointed out, feels very uh, Seinfeld-esque.
Oh, yeah, the classic. You know how to take the reservation, you just don't know how to hold the reservation.
Roan, it just nails that feeling, doesn't it?
Yes.
That the most important part of the agreement, actually having the car, wasn't upheld.
It really cuts to the heart of the frustration. Like, what good is the booking process if the item isn't there at the end?
It makes the whole reservation feel a bit pointless in that moment.
And it resonates because, let's be honest, we've probably all felt that with something, right? Maybe not a car, maybe a restaurant table or a hotel room.
Definitely. You plan around these things, and when it falls through despite you doing your part in booking, it feels like a system failure.
It really does. Okay, so Jimmy's reserved midsize is gone. Poof. The agent then offers him alternatives.
Right, a compact or an SUV, which nicely leads us into the different car types they discuss. The podcast breaks this down well. Let's start small, the compact.
Okay, so compact. They describe it as, small, often the cheapest option.
Look, what kind of car are we talking?
They mention a VW Golf as an example. Could be a two-door, maybe a smaller four-door like a Ford Focus. Basically, not a lot of frills, small size.
Got it, the budget option, then moving up.
Mid-size, like the name says. It's in the middle. Your typical four-door sedan.
What examples did they give for that?
They mentioned a Ford Taurus and the Toyota Camry, which is super common.
Right, you see Camrys everywhere.
Yeah, though they do add a little note that even a Camry can be kind of expensive sometimes. So size isn't everything when it comes to price.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay, and the third option offered?
The SUV Sport Utility Vehicle. The podcast actually reminds us it's an acronym, Sports Utility Vehicle.
I always forget that. Utility. Does
Yeah.
that mean off-road?
Originally, yeah, that was often part of the idea. Some still are capable, but, nowadays a lot of SUVs are more about passenger room, cargo space, that kind of general versatility.
More family car than mud plugger sometimes.
Pretty much. Examples given were the Ford Explorer and the Jeep Cherokee, standard SUV types.
Okay. And they did quickly mention other things you could rent, right? Like vans or limos.
Yeah, just a brief mention, but the main focus in this conversation was definitely compact, mid-size SUV.
Right. So beyond the car types, the actual language used is really interesting. There are some key phrases that pop up.
Absolutely. Let's start with the basics. Make a reservation.
Seems simple, but it's the standard way to say it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very common collocation, as they point out. Like calling a restaurant, you make a reservation for dinner. Standard English.
Okay. And then the reason Jimmy can't get his midsize, the agent says they ran out of cars.
Ran out. Another super useful phrase. It just means don't have any more. Simple as that.
The podcast gave some good examples, like,
Yeah, like running out of gasoline,
Yeah.
find a gas station quick.
yeah,
Or running out of milk at home, need to go to the store.
or even a pen running out of ink just means it's depleted Finished.
Exactly. And linked to that, remember how the agent first phrased the bad news?
We have no midsize available at the moment. Something like that.
Precisely. We have no item available. The hosts point out that while maybe we don't have any is more common.
Or we haven't got any.
Right. But we have no, followed by the noun, like we have no cars, we have no time, we have no clue. It's perfectly normal in spoken English. Sounds quite natural.
Good to know. Okay, now, things get a little heated when they discuss insurance.
Ah, yes. Jimmy's response, he says something like, yeah, you better give me the insurance.
Because I'm going to beat the hell out of this car. Oh, okay. 2 strong bits of language there. Let's take you better first.
Right. The podcast explains this isn't just a suggestion, it's forceful. It can even be like a mild threat.
So it's stronger than just saying you should.
Definitely.
Yep.
They mention the full grammatical form is you had better, but we almost always shorten it to you better when we speak.
And it implies consequences.
Yeah, there's often an implied or else. The examples they gave were good. You better go to the doctor before that cold gets worse. Or else it will get worse.
Or you better watch out. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Or else something bad might happen.
And she better change her attitude or her boss will fire her. That one's pretty direct about the consequence.
So when Jimmy says, you better give me the insurance, it carries that weight. It's not a polite request.
Not at all, especially given what he says next.
Which is, I'm going to beat the hell out of this car.
Okay, that sounds extreme.
It is. The podcast flags this as a very, very strong phrase. Beat the hell out of something means to damage it badly, treat it really roughly, abuse it.
It sounds quite aggressive.
Extremely. And they make the important point that if you use it about a person, it implies serious physical violence. You know, the kind that could get you arrested.
It's definitely not casual language.
Absolutely not. They call it impolite, something to avoid generally. They even give this intense example about a bar fight to show just how strong it is. So Jimmy's using it about the car, but it shows his level of anger and frustration is pretty high.
You can say that again. He's clearly not happy about the SUV substitute or the whole situation.
Not one bit.
Now, there was one other little tangent in the source discussion, wasn't there? About luxury rentals.
Yeah, that was kind of a fun aside. Towards the end, they briefly talked about renting, Porsches, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, the really high-end stuff.
Which you apparently can do in places like Florida or California. Right. But they mentioned the insurance premiums are sky high, naturally.
And that you'd basically be asking for a speeding ticket the moment you drove off the lot.
Ha. Yeah, pretty much. It was just a little glimpse into the other end of the rental spectrum, away from the everyday compacts and midsize cars. Adds a bit of color.
Definitely. Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've covered quite a bit from that English Smart podcast dialogue.
Yeah, we looked at that core conflict, the reservation that wasn't really a reservation.
The different car sizes, compact, midsize, SUV, what those generally mean.
And some really useful and sometimes very strong English phrases that came up. Make a reservation, ran out of, we have no.
You better. And of course, the very emphatic, beat the hell out of something.
So for you listening, has this ever happened? Maybe not the exact car rental drama, but that feeling of a booking falling through.
It's weirdly common, right?
Yeah.
Thinking about the language people use in those moments, it tells you a lot. The frustration, the negotiation.
Definitely. Which leads us to maybe a final thought to chew on. We live in a world that seems to run on reservations now, don't we?
For everything, yeah. Travel, restaurants, activities, you name it.
So in the system, what does a guaranteed reservation actually mean anymore? Is that frustration Jimmy felt, that feeling of being let down? Is that just like an unavoidable part of how things work now? Yeah. Balancing what we expect with what's actually available minute to minute?
That's a really interesting question. Something to ponder next time you hit that confirm booking button. What are you really getting?
Let listen the dialogue about the topic.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine.
What do you got, Catherine, for us today?
That's a good question. Well, we've got a little bit of a Seinfeld situation. So, for those of you who are not familiar with this American TV show, which, by the way, is one of my favorites, Seinfeld is a TV show, a comedy about very awkward, very common situations that are taken to the extreme.
Right. So it's a very popular show. It was around for like 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
And but it's not airing anymore. Well, they're not making new episodes anymore.
No, you have to see them in reruns.
Reruns, right? So we have a situation that's very common. It was pretty funny on the show. It's a guy trying to rent a car.
Okay, so he's probably at the airport or traveling, and he's had a long flight and he wants to rent a car, but of course there are some problems. So
Right.
This is an elementary level lesson, by the way, so keep that in mind as we listen to this dialogue one time.
Hi, I made a reservation for a mid-sized vehicle. The name is Jimmy Fox.
I'm sorry. We have no midsize available at the moment.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservation.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. See, you know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take them.
But we do have a compact or an SUV if you'd like.
Fine. I'll take the compact.
All right. We have a blue Ford Focus for you, Mr. Fox. Would you like insurance?
Yeah, you better give me the insurance because I'm gonna beat the hell out of this car.
All right, great. So this actually happens a lot. You make a reservation and either they lose it or they run out of cars. It's such a common situation.
And it's not just cars. Sometimes this happens at restaurants too, and it really makes me angry.
Yeah, that happens a lot. You show up and they're like, oh, we don't have a reservation. And you're just like...
Well, then you have to keep yourself in check. You can't really get angry. But this guy does. So
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the language takeaway to find out what are some of the words we're using here to describe renting a car and what kind of car we're talking about.
Language takeaway.
Well, as you mentioned, at rental places, they have different size cars, right? Different size vehicles.
Which, by the way, costs different prices.
Right. So let's take a look at the sizes that they mentioned in dialogue. Starting with the cheapest one, the least expensive, and the smallest, it's a compact vehicle.
All right, compact. So compact actually means small.
Small.
Right, so compact car you're going to hear very often, even if you're buying a car. Let's think of what's a compact car? The VW Golf is a compact car, very small car.
So usually it's 2 doors, or if it's a 4-door car, it's very small, not very long, right?
Right, exactly.
So maybe like a Ford Focus could be a small car,
Also.
a compact. Now moving up in size a little bit, we would have a mid-size vehicle.
Okay, mid-size vehicle is, it's a giveaway here because mid means middle. So it's kind of in the middle between the small and the large. And this is your average 4-door sedan car.
Okay, so as an example, you would have a Ford Taurus or maybe a Toyota Camry.
Yeah, Toyota Camry is maybe the most common car. Yeah,
It's
definitely.
kind of expensive, but it's still mid-size, right?
Exactly.
And now a bigger car, and probably one of the most popular cars in the United States, is an SUV.
Not anymore, Marco.
I know,
With the energy crisis and the
Gas prices.
and the economy as well. People are not driving their SUVs anymore. But SUV is an acronym. That means it stands for 3 different words. S meaning
Sports.
U meaning
Utility.
V.
Vehicle.
All right, thank you. So SUV, sport utility vehicle, means it can go maybe off-road.
Right. So an example of this would be a Ford Explorer or
Jeep Cherokee.
A Jeep Cherokee could be an SUV as well. So right, those are 3 different types of cars. Now obviously there are many more, like a van or a
limo.
Like a limousine. But yeah, these are the most common ones that you would rent at a car rental place.
Yeah, definitely. But what we have to do here is make a reservation.
Now, interesting, you make a reservation.
Hey, you don't have it. You don't do it.
You make it.
Yeah, you make these are words that go together. So we're going to keep them together. I can call a restaurant. So say, for example, Marco works at a restaurant. Say, hello, I'd like to make a reservation for tonight.
Oh, okay, perfect. Now, if you show up at the restaurant, you say...
where's my table? I made a reservation.
Right.
And of course, I throw a fit because there's no
They don't
table
have
for
it.
me. So you make a reservation, and in this case, it was made before.
Okay, so you make a reservation. Now, why was this guy angry at the rental car place?
Oh, long story short, the company ran out of cars.
Okay.
Not all cars, just the car that he wanted,
Right.
the mid-size vehicle.
So they ran out. So that doesn't mean they're actually running somewhere.
No, they're
right?
not putting on their running shoes and going for a jog. No, in this case, to run out, or in this case, we ran out, means that they don't have any more.
You don't have any more. Exactly. I think this word is a nice word for us to take a look at some other examples now.
Example 1. We're going to run out of gasoline. You need to find a gas station soon. Example 2.
Can you buy some milk on your way home? We ran out last night.
Example 3. My pen ran out of ink. Can you lend me one, please?
Not a fun phrase, but an important one in case you're ever in a restaurant or in a hotel or in a place where you can purchase something or rent something and it's all gone.
All right. So I think we've taken a look at a lot of great words here. So let's listen to this dialogue again. We're going to slow it down just a little bit, and then we'll come back and explain some phrases.
Hi, I made a reservation for a mid-sized vehicle. The name is Jimmy Fox.
I'm sorry. We have no midsize available at the moment.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservation.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. See, you know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take them.
But we do have a compact or an SUV if you'd like.
Fine. I'll take the compact.
All right. We have a blue Ford Focus for you, Mr. Fox. Would you like insurance?
Yeah, you better give me the insurance because I'm gonna beat the hell out of this car.
And we're back. So, Marco, we've got a couple phrases here that deserve some attention. So let's take a look at them in today's Fluency Builder.
Fluency builder.
So the first phrase that I want to take a look at is when the agent says, "I'm sorry, we have no mid-size available at the moment."
Okay, so do they or do they not have any?
Yeah, she says, "We have no mid-size."
Okay, so another way to say this is, we haven't got any.
Or we don't have any.
Okay, but in this case, you can just simplify it and say we have no. Why wouldn't you say we have none?
Good question. Why?
Because we need a thing here. We have no cars. We have no cake. We have no food. So this is a very common phrase in English. And remember to put the thing at the end. So
for example, can I say I have no money?
absolutely. I'm so
Right.
sorry, Marco, but I'm not going to lend you.
I have no money. Seriously, lend me some money. So we have no. This is interesting because this is not a structure that is usually learned through textbooks, right? You usually say I don't have or we haven't got.
Exactly. This is very spoken because you would never say I go no.
Right, exactly.
Right? We have to talk about something that we that has an object, something that we have. So here, I have no is very spoken, very common. It's got another phrase that is also not taught so much in those textbooks that we were just mentioning. So what's that phrase at the end?
well,
Threat. It's a threat. The guy is so angry, he leans over the counter and he points his finger in the agent's face. And what does he say?
He says, "Yeah, you better give me the insurance.
You better.
You better."
All right, so you better than me?
No, it's not like better, like something is good, right? You'd better is like a suggestion, but a very strong one,
Okay,
right?
very strong. This is a threat.
Yeah, this one
You
is
better eat your dinner or I'm going to send you to your room. all
exactly.
night. Yeah.
So as you can see, he says, "You better give me the insurance." But the grammatically correct way would be,
You had better.
"You had better."
So
So the contraction would be "you'd better."
Exactly. You had better do this. So this is it's a hypothetical situation. You had better do this. If you don't do this, bad things will happen. So remember that here we've got the grammatically correct form that you should write, you'd better, or the spoken form, you better.
You better. I think in this one we should also listen to some other examples to get a better idea of how we can use this very strong suggestion.
Example 1.
You better go to the doctor before that cold gets any worse.
Example 2. You better watch out. It's dangerous to go out this late. Example 3.
She better change her attitude, or her boss is going to fire her.
So what is the threat? You better give me insurance because what is he going to do?
He says, I'm gonna beat the hell out of this car.
Okay, so this is future. I'm going to. I'm gonna.
Right.
Beat the hell out of this car. So this is very strong, right?
Yeah, it's very strong, and he's saying he is going to destroy the car.
So beat the hell out of, so that means really just do damage to something.
So you can use it out towards a person also. It's like, I'm going to beat the hell out of you.
And I'll arrest you for violence.
Right, so it's a very strong phrase. It shows anger, it shows that you are threatening somebody. So it's not, obviously it's not polite.
And it might get you a broken nose in a bar if you ever say this to someone or about someone, so be very careful.
Right, but you can use it to describe a situation, right? He's like, yeah, we went to a bar yesterday, and Dan beat the hell out of the bartender. Right?
Man.
So instead of just saying Dan hit the bartender or Dan got into a fight, you're saying he hit him and he just...
And he kept hitting him and kept hitting him and kept hitting him. So
Right.
yeah, he beat the hell out of him.
Right.
All right, great. So those are the phrases and words that we wanted to talk about today. But I think it'd be good if we listen to this dialogue one more time just to get a good feel for it. When we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more about the process of renting a car.
Hi, I made a reservation for a mid-sized vehicle. The name is Jimmy Fox.
I'm sorry. We have no midsize available at the moment.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservation.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. See, you know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take them.
But we do have a compact or an SUV if you'd like.
Fine. I'll take the compact.
All right. We have a blue Ford Focus for you, Mr. Fox. Would you like insurance?
Yeah, you better give me the insurance because I'm gonna beat the hell out of this car.
You know, I heard that in Florida or in certain cities of California and Florida, you can actually rent luxury cars.
Oh yeah, you can do that in most places.
You can rent like a Porsche or a Lamborghini or a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Obviously, it costs a lot of money, but it gives you the opportunity to maybe drive one of these cars that you obviously wouldn't have the money to buy.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about those warm places like Florida, California, you want to be in the sunshine, you get a convertible.
You got to get a convertible.
Yeah, so I think the insurance premiums on those particular cars are very high, though. So you're not only paying for the car, but you're also paying for the insurance and possibly the speeding tickets.
Yeah, of course. I can't imagine renting one of those cars and not getting a speeding ticket.
Exactly. So if any of you out there have experience renting cars or you have some questions about the specifics that are involved in this process,
you can let us know.